Hello, my name is Ivonne Solano, and this is my cultural literacy autobiography. I was born in the border town of Ciudad Juárez, Chihuahua, Mexico. My mom, Marisela, was 17 years old, and my dad, Rafael, was 19. We lived in Juárez until I was 8 years old. I vividly remember that the only thing I knew how to write in first grade was my name, and we were starting to read using a silabario, or syllables. Books were always a part of my life. Since my mommy's dream was to be a teacher, I was her first student. I inherited her passion to teach and her unquenchable thirst to learn. My mom promoted literacy from an early age. I remember books such as El Gato con Botas, and remember visiting my abuelita and sneaking to my grandfather's bookshelf to browse the many books he had. When I was 8 years old, my parents divorced. My mom, my sister, and I moved to El Paso, Texas because of my grandfather's job. There, school became my focus. We lived in El Segundo Barrio, one of the poorest zip codes in Texas. My school was 99.5% Latino, and the majority of us were living under the poverty line and receiving free or reduced lunch. Growing up walking distance to Mexico shaped my identity. Gloria Anzaldúa describes the border as follows. The U.S.-Mexican border is una herida abierta. It is an open wound, where the third world grates against the first and bleeds. And before a scab forms, it hemorrhages again. The lifeblood of two worlds merging to form a third country, a border culture. I did not know it yet, but Gloria Anzaldúa put into words my experiences, feelings, and questions of having a transnational identity. During this confusing time, the library became my safe haven. In the picture, my third grade class, with Miss Holguin, is celebrating the renovation of the Armijo Public Library that was about to begin. This library was 5 minutes away from my one-bedroom apartment. This was my second home and my favorite hobby. I is for interesting books. I checked out books in droves, picture books, 15 at a time, participated in the summer reading program, attended library programs, volunteered, went through stages of checking out mystery books, ghost stories, R.L. Stein books, books in English, picture books, books in Spanish, chapter books, long books, short books, sat there and read magazines. It was the only place I could use a computer. It wasn't anything new that you could find Ivonne at the library. Starting in the third grade, I was in the transitional bilingual program. I had to learn English. Miss Holguin in third grade introduced me to it, Mr. Alvarado in fourth grade, and my fifth grade teacher. I remember that my fifth grade teacher reading us books like Crowboy, and then we had to illustrate it and write it mimicking the words in English. By the sixth grade, I was receiving most of the instruction in English, and in middle school, I had transitioned into English. I was tracked into advanced placement courses while my friends, a lot of them, and peers, remained in ESL classes all through high school. I admire my mom. She valued education and had high expectations of us. Every day she worked long hours in a candy factory and sacrificed many years so we could have what we needed. She also advocated for us to take advantage of every educational opportunity. That is why, after my junior year, I was able to attend the Upward Bound Math and Science program at the University of North Texas. It was my first time on a plane and my first time away from my family. It was also the first time that I realized that I sounded different. I had an accent. I felt like an outsider. But that wasn't the worst. When I decided to attend the University of North Texas my freshman year, it was a complete culture shock. During my time at UNT, I decided to minor in women's studies courses. Through my courses, I finally found a text that resonated with my experience. It was Gloria Anzaldua's Borderlands La Frontera chapter, How to Tame a Wild Tongue. It resonated with my experience of learning English, but also it resonated with my experience of bias and racism against somebody who has an accent or sounded different. Gloria Anzaldúa writes, "So if you want to really hurt me, talk badly about my language. Ethnic identity is twin skin to linguistic identity. I am my language. Until I can take pride in my language, I cannot take pride in myself." This helped me find something academic that we were reading that made sense. My mom's dream to become an educator became my dream. It started with my mentor, a new anthropology professor. I did not even know what anthropology was. But as I recounted my experiences in school, about the 50% drop rate of my graduation class, about my friends kept in ESL classes throughout high school, and the low percentage of students pursuing a post-baccalaureate degree, it made sense. She understood. She told me to read Angela Valenzuela's Subtractive Schooling. It opens my eyes to the crucial role that teachers play in the classroom. Educación and education are not the same. For educación also means respect and symbolizes how Latino parents entrust their child to a teacher, while education is a transmittal of knowledge. The more I read, the more I questioned, the more I needed books that spoke to my experience. These are some of the titles that I found that were important for that transition, for me to gain a critical lens. I am a critical educator. As a bilingual teacher, it is my responsibility to understand the sociopolitical influences that affect students' lives, especially those that live on the margins of society. My purpose in my classroom is to acknowledge those experiences and to empower students to have agency and to remember that they have a voice and that they can advocate for themselves. The first professional book that I read after becoming a teacher was Donald Miller's The Book Whisperer. She encourages teachers and parents to give access to books and to foster a love for reading by providing choice. This is something that I love to do in and out of the classroom. Students need to see themselves in books, but they also need to be challenged and learn from other experiences.